everybody, and welcome back to episode 9 of the KickBack. If you do enjoy what you're seeing here, please do remember to leave us a like, drop us a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Last episode, Dr. Benji told us our target is 300 for the end of the year, and I don't want to let him down, so I'm putting all the pressure on you guys. Thank you very much. But enough about the last guest, because we're here with the current guest. Somebody who, I have to say, quite an interesting person in the community, because not only are you streaming, but you do something that particularly I'm interested in, you know, sort of part-time-ish as well, which we'll get onto. It's Omega Luke. Omega Luke. I don't know if my pronunciation's correct. Which do you prefer?
I say Omega, but I don't like to correct people if they say anything else. I'm like, yeah, whatever you want to call me.
How you doing, Luke?
Been called a lot worse. I'm good, mate. Thank you very much for having me on. I'm good.
But yeah, you guys won't know yet because we haven't done the announcement, but obviously Luke is going to be in the Weighted Possession draft this Friday. So the day this comes out, this will come out at 4 p.m. A couple hours later, you'll be able to catch him in our
winning
competition. Fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed. After your stream,
I don't even know why I say it anymore.
After your shout-out performance, mate, baby steps.
It's just luck, I think. I don't even think it's just like online PvP is not for me. Just bad luck.
Yeah, like literally, I've had one tactic that's won me the entire competition. Or like the entire draft, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to use this next time. And then the next time I play, like I'm getting slapped about 6-1, 6-0 by the same guys I played last week, and I'm like, what's going on here?
I just get like screwed by like random things. Like I know we're going really off topic straight away, but the goal against Clates is honestly, it haunted me. It has haunted me. I've recorded it on Twitch, and then I saved it to my phone just to show people when they ask me how I did. Oh, how did you do in that competition? This happened. So don't bother asking anymore. Like that's how bad it was.
No, well, that's why we got you on, because we were like, oh, we need some of that for the weekly montages we're going to do.
Exactly.
Which I don't know if I've spoiled that. Hopefully we can have one out before this episode airs. But we'll go on to the question that I ask everybody when they come in, just straight off the bat. What was your first footballing memory that, well, not necessarily, you know, your first ever footballing memory, but the one that, you know, drew you in and made you think that, okay, this is the sport?
Yeah, so I was born in 1992. So when I was like sort of 5-6, it was Manchester United were the team that I supported because I like the colour red and I like David Beckham. And like my first memory that I thought like really drew me in was, which I just thought was astonishing, and it's happened loads of times since, and nothing will ever compare close to it, is David Beckham's halfway line goal. Because I was too young to know about if anybody else had scored from the halfway line, but obviously I was old enough to know that is a long distance. And the fact that he's actually like my idol at the time scored from the halfway line, it was just like, it was magical to me. And I just thought like he is a god. Like that was just it for me. I just thought that was an incredible thing that he's managed to do. And you know, whenever it was 97, I think it might have been. But yeah, absolutely incredible. And he's never been able to do anything wrong in my eyes since. Like even when he left Manchester United, I cried my eyes out, but I still didn't dislike the bloke, because that's the reason why I love football.
Nah, fair enough. I think this is the first time we're having another Manchester United fan in. So let's replicate.
We can be miserable together.
Oh, mate, don't get me started. What? Look at okay. Another caveat. What do we do? What do we do right now?
I want to be keeping Ollie. That's for sure. That's my opinion, though.
Do you reckon Ollie in?
No, Ollie out for me.
I wasn't sure if you said not keeping Ollie or keeping Ollie.
I'll be getting rid of him.
Something needs to change.
I'll be getting rid of him.
But I'm
the way I look at it is, we aren't going to win a Premier League or a Champions League with Ollie as manager, because he hasn't ever done that before, and he's not tactically good enough to beat Pep or Klopp or Tuchel. So what is the point in having him then? Get somebody else in. Get somebody like Conte in, who's a winner, or Zidane. He's won Champions Leagues and La Ligas. He likes some of the players that we have. Well, I don't know why we're wasting our time, but there we go.
I never thought I'd live to see the day somebody would play Paul Pogba out of position in order to accommodate Fred in the starting 11. But
scary, isn't it?
Then Pogba's playing left wing against Aston Villa, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. And then doesn't get into the team on the weekend.
I genuinely think he's doing it on purpose. Honestly, I think he's a wind up. I think he's a wind up merchant. I think he does it, and he's like, this is gonna annoy a lot of people. Yeah. I'm gonna enjoy this.
Takes his paycheck and is like, I'm gonna be. If I'm not gonna be famous, I'm gonna be infamous.
yeah, pretty much that. Yeah.
Nah, fair enough. So, like, did you play at all when you were younger?
Yeah, I played throughout all of my youth, to be honest. Went up to like a first team of like a semi-professional team when I was 16, and then broke my foot smacking the ball against somebody else. The bottom of the foot went when I hit a volley, and then never played at a high level again. Played a lot of men's football, but I took like a 3-year break, put on a lot of weight, lost on my pace because I couldn't run on my toes anymore. Where I smacked my metatarsal and did all like the ligaments on the top of my foot. When I eventually started running again and doing five-a-side, I was so flat-footed. So I just lost any ability to run at a half-decent pace. So I was just so slow. But yes, I very much enjoyed playing men's football all the way up until I stopped a couple of seasons ago, really.
Okay, what level did you get to, like, pre-injury? What was sort of the potential there?
So semi-professional team, really low level. Like, I think I got paid like 25 quid a game, like not a lot at all. And it wasn't, yeah, exactly. I couldn't believe it for myself, but, I only played 2 games for them until I actually broke my foot. I played for the thirds team at the time. And I remember it was a Tuesday night and I got a call from the thirds manager saying, "Are you free tonight?" And I was thinking, well, I ain't got training or a game. I don't know why he's ringing me. And he said, the first team strikers injured, the second team strikers unavailable. Could you play? And I was like, hell yes, because I was only 16. So yeah, I played that game, come off the bench as a sub. They decided to go strikerless in the first half, and then like, all right, we'll give him a chance. And then I played 1 game on the Saturday after that, and that's where I broke my foot. So.
Oh, nah. That's quite rotten luck. That is very, very rotten luck.
Yeah.
Did you manage to bag a goal in any of those appearances?
No.
So is that your position then? You were a striker mainly?
Started off, yeah. When like I eventually lost my pace, I dropped further back. My favourite position is like in the number 10 role in behind the strike. That was where I felt like I've always had my my best periods in like men's football. But growing up, I was striker.
No, I live in the dream. Everyone wanted to be the striker. I enjoyed central midfield because I just couldn't be able to run.
I very much enjoyed that after. Like in men's football, like I couldn't really. Sometimes I think striker is overrated. Like if you're up there, but the rest of your team's crap and can't get the ball to you, it's the most frustrating thing ever. Whereas if you're in centre mid, even if you play for a crap team, you can guarantee yourself you're going to be in and around the action. So that's what I enjoyed the most. Even if I play for a terrible team, just run around and try and make yourself a nuisance or try and get hold of the ball a little bit more. It's always a little bit more fun than just standing up in the cold with watching the ball fly over your head to that goalkeeper all the time.
Yeah. No one can make that pass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nah, fair enough. So then, obviously, you had that involvement in the real game, but the reason why we all know you as Omega Luke is because of the more fictional side of Football Manager. How old were you when you got your hands on your first copy?
So it was the 98-99 Champ Manager. It was a demo. I remember, like Dr. Benji said on the one, he played the demo for the first time in a cereal box. Pretty sure it's the same thing, whether it was just like a cereal box or like one of those like magazines where you used to get demos and stuff. I got the demo, and it was I always remember it really well because Manchester United were always in the Champions League group against Brøndby. So I always used to play against Brøndby all the time, and so I always remember playing that first 6 months as Manchester United in Champ Manager, and that was my first one. But I don't really think I got another one until it was Football Manager 2005, because for the same reasons, like other people have said, when you're a kid and you want to buy a game, you don't have money.
Yeah.
So unless, like, obviously, your parents are willing to pay, but I was more interested in playing FIFA and stuff back then, something you can control. But it was always something that I always wanted to go back to. And I had Premier Manager on like PlayStation and stuff, so that got my manager fix. And then LMA Manager come around, so I used to play a lot of 2003, 4, 5, maybe even 2002. I might have had 2002 as well. And then it wasn't until like I got a decent laptop when I was in secondary school that I was able to get Football Manager 2005, and that was when I fully immersed myself into the game again and realised that it's probably the best game ever.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to hear that you've been listening to the show as well. Really do appreciate that. So obviously you got immersed into the game. You've been playing it for a while. At some point, you must have seen content creation in in the Football Manager remit, I guess would be the word for it. Who was it that drew you in?
Jack, Space Jack was the main guy. I don't remember what his first series that I watched him of, but I remember the start of Gibraltar Apex. I remember him doing like his trailer video for it and talking about how he's creating a team in Gibraltar. And it came quite close to home to me because my granddad lived in Gibraltar and played for Glasgow United for a few years. So I was like, I'm going to see a team in Gibraltar, which obviously you couldn't manage it in Football Manager. And he was using a mod. So I was like fully invested in that save, and I watched every single episode religiously. As soon as he was uploading, I was there watching it at home. And, if my missus had something on the telly, I'd go in the other room and watch it because I couldn't wait until 8 o'clock to find out how Gibraltar Apex did. I wanted to know immediately. So Jack was the first one who drew me in. From that, I think he did a couple of videos maybe with Ben, and I started watching Ben very sporadically because it was towards the end of a game cycle. So I came in and out of Ben's stuff. I don't quite remember the first. It might have been Salford. I think I might have done a Salford save. I think that I watched him, and I know I caught him again later on. So yeah, those are the main two for me that I watched. Occasionally used to check out Golden FM as well when he used to do his Regen Rovers. But I never used to watch that as religiously as Jack's. Jack was the main one for me that really drew me in, to be fair.
Does it ever get like a bit weird that, you're now obviously must be somewhat talking to him because of the Shimmer Showdown and being a...
Yeah, I get on really well. The weird thing is, like, I've done a video with Jack. I get on really well with him, and like he's honestly, like they say, like don't meet your heroes. Not to say he's like a hero, but he's honestly like one of the nicest blokes in this community. And to be fair, I haven't done justice here for a second yellow card because he got me involved. He got me addicted to a save he did with Midland, Building a Nation. And unfortunately for his reasons, he stopped that save, and I was gutted because I was fully engrossed in that one too. It was around about the same time. Yeah. And yeah, I was fully engrossed in that, and he stopped and took his break that he did. Yeah. And I was gutted at that point. And when he come back, I think I missed his first series back, but I watched the series after he did. I can't remember who it was now, but I remember watching this Notts County one as well. So Matt was another one who I definitely watched. But yeah, I've done a video with Jack and like spoke to him and just like it was weird because I used to hear his voice every single day religiously, and now I'm just like having a chat with him, and he genuinely is such a nice bloke. But yeah, it is odd, and the same with Matt's second yellow card, like one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. And I went from sat in my bedroom watching him to now speaking to him. It is a really nice feeling, to be honest, and I'm proud of the fact that I've got to the point where they see me as like somebody who they want to speak to and talk about content with, and in regards to stuff like that.
Cool. So, I mean, you say there, proud of yourself for getting to the point where you can communicate with them on that sort of business level, I guess, when it's coming, for them guys, particularly as a full-time income. How did you get to that point? At what point were you watching these guys and thinking, because we all think I could do better than that. Yeah. It's that arrogance, I think. And I don't think arrogance is a bad thing if you're self-aware about it. So, that's the moment I think most people then turn to making, particularly YouTube content, maybe not so much streaming. What came first? What was the chicken and the egg sort of thing for you? Was it Twitch or was it YouTube? So
it was actually neither. When I used to watch Jack and stuff, and I used to speak to my missus about it, I always go, I'd love to do this. I'd love to do this. But I am also one of these people that I'm really lazy when it comes to looking things up. And I genuinely thought you'd need a game capture card. And I thought, that's 200 quid. I ain't going to spend 200 quid on that. So I never did it. And it wasn't until I started a wrestling podcast myself, because I did a wrestling podcast with Simon Miller, who's like a big independent wrestler. I know Simon Miller. Does all the What Culture videos. Yeah. If you watch wrestling on YouTube, you know who Simon Miller is, because he's everywhere. And also a really nice guy.
Yeah.
And I did his podcast, and he asked me to come back on again, So I did his podcast like 4 times, and on like the third one, you'd have like a chat with him after, and he'd be like, mate, you need to start your own. Because if you're this passionate about it, and I said to him, I'd love to do this. He's like, you just need to start your own. And it was that kick up the ass. I was like, right, I'm going to look up how I do it, what I need and stuff. So I did that. So I started the wrestling podcast, and then when people were talking about, oh, you should do wrestling YouTube. So I got like a GoPro camera. It's stupid because they're not very good for that type of thing. It's definitely not what you need, to be honest. And I started doing like wrestling YouTube videos, and I thought, oh, this is fun. And I was like practicing performance, and I was using different editing tricks and stuff like that. And then when I was like recording interviews, I was using OBS. And one day I just happened to have Football Manager up because I was playing it, and I went to click on the OBS, and when I clicked down the screen for a window capture, I seen it's Football Manager, and I was like, you are kidding me. It's actually this easy. So even then it took that long. Yeah. And that was mid-cycle FM19, and as soon as I realized that, I was like, right, second channel's getting made tonight, and I'm making a gaming channel. Yeah. And that's when it all started. And I kick myself every day. And if anybody ever says like, oh, do you have any regrets doing YouTube and stuff, like during your YouTube time? I don't really like having regrets, but that is one that I never started sooner, and I was too lazy to check it up. Because there might be people watching this now, and I always say it, people who are streaming as well, or watch my videos, I always say it. You might be sat at home thinking, I'd love to do YouTube videos. Do it. Yeah. Because you don't know how good you are or how much you're going to enjoy it unless you try it. And I was one of a big mistake for that, because I sat there for 4 years before saying I'd love to do this. I think I'd be really good at it. Not like better than Jack, or Ben and stuff. I just thought I'd love to try it. And, I always used to be the performer in school and stuff. So it's something that I knew I would enjoy. And I was just too lazy to find out how easy it actually was to do it.
And I think it's good. I remember being in a similar position, thinking, I need a graphics capturing card or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, my problems wasn't so much, because I have a similar sort of regret with that. Like, I don't know why I didn't do it sooner. Mine was more nerves, though. I was always like, oh, what if my friends find out and they start giving me shit for it? Like, my sister gives me shit all the time for it. Yeah. She's just one of them. Like, how did you overcome that? Because I know that's something that I felt, and I think a lot of people would be feeling who are in that. I kind of want to start, but, you give yourself that excuse like, oh, I'm going to wait until FM22 comes out, and then I'm going to wait until there's face packs out, and then I'm going to wait until the winter updates out, whatever it might be, just because of the other insecurities of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, when it's regards to like how people think, that's something really I don't think you should really care about. If they're having like a joke about, like some of my mates have a joke with me about it, but a lot of the time, like, never gets mentioned at all, and I don't like bringing it up that much. If I'm with my group of friends, I very rarely talk about YouTube or anything like that, even though like now it's one of my main incomes, or it is my main income now. People will say, oh, that's nice, that's a good thing, or ask how it's doing, but like I wouldn't bring it up to them. Like if they ask me about it, that's fine, but because they still see me as just Luke, they who they've known for however long, for whatever reasons. So in regards to that, like, I don't think you should worry about it. And I know it's easy for me to say because a lot of people do have these nerves and stuff, but at the end of the day, if they're going to take the mick out of you for doing something like that, they're probably not a very good friend. Really, they should support you. And I was very lucky when I did the wrestling podcast. The first thing I did was I got my wrestling friends involved, because 4 out of my like close group of friends are big wrestling fans. So my first episode, I got one of my best friends, Matt, on the episode, and we talked wrestling. And because that was what I wanted to do, I didn't want to do it by myself. I wanted to talk with friends because I felt conversation would flow more and people would enjoy the interaction side of things rather than just one person talking. Because personally, that's how I enjoy listening to content. I prefer conversation rather than just one person just talking and dropping information bombs like nonstop. And then I got like my other 3 friends involved, and I ended up having like a good group of about 8 people from my area in Plymouth who I knew enjoyed wrestling. And I'd message them, say, look, I've got a podcast. don't want you to listen. You don't have to listen, but if you want to come on, just ever let me know. And I had a lot of people who did, and I felt like that was a good way of breaking that boundary. So when I went on to like YouTube stuff, we'd go to like wrestling shows, I'd vlog it. And I've got like wrestling vlogs from my other channel. If you type in Omega Luke Wrestling, you'll see my wrestling vlogs. And there's 4 of us. We went up to London, and we'll answer like loads of stupid questions, and we'd be daft and just be like, as a group of lads would in their 20s, just be a bit stupid, to be honest. It was good fun. It's so much fun when you take that content to the next level and involve other people. Like, we just had such a laugh doing it. We in the car journeys up, we'd be taking the mick out of each other and have all these inside jokes, and like the comments we'd always get back would be fantastic. Like, they wouldn't really care what we were saying, but because we were enjoying ourselves, making each other laugh, that was what people enjoyed watching. So, and we made like good groups of friends from that. We'd go to wrestling shows and meet up with other people who watched the videos and send in the questions because they wanted to see us, because obviously they watched us do these vlogs. So, and I didn't have very many subscribers at all doing that, and that was really fun, and that was, even my friends thought that was cool. So it is a case of like, bite the bullet, try it, look it up. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But at least I always think it's better to regret something you tried and it didn't work out, rather than regret something that you never did. Because you never know what actually could have been.
100%.
So
100%. So obviously you got into that YouTube sort of area of content first. What led you to Twitch? At what point did you realize that OBS had a start streaming button?
I did. I streamed on YouTube first for a while. Mainly because that was where my audience was, and I thought I had an opportunity to start streaming, and a lot of people said like, maybe you should start streaming. So I did a YouTube stream like every Sunday night, and I got the buzz from it straight away. My first night, I was like, right, don't know what to expect. If I have 5 people in here, I'll be absolutely buzzing. And there was like a good 20 to 25 people in there for about 4 hours, and I was over the moon with that, and I got like addicted immediately. I said I was only going to stream on the Sunday, and I was like, right, let's come back Wednesday as well. And I was just chucking as many streams as possible, just because I thoroughly enjoyed it. And then like when I looked more into it, like a lot of people were on Twitch, but again, I was scared of things like emotes. I was scared of things of like raids. I didn't know what they were. I didn't look them up, and I didn't know, like, I don't know what a emote is. Like, YouTube didn't have that at the time, and I was like, I don't have any emotes. What the hell is an alert? Like, I used to watch Twitch, and like these things used to flash up, and I thought, I can't do that. So I never used to like worry about it. And then it wasn't until like a couple of months later, and I used to watch people like Harris Heller on the Alpha Gaming channel, because I wanted to get my YouTube channel to be bigger, and he used to at the time say, if you're streaming, you should be streaming on Twitch and getting double platforms, so you attract more people who can't find you on one platform and drag them to the other. And I thought, right, I need to do that then. And that's when I finally started the Twitch save, and that was FM20, kind of like April time, roughly about that. That's when I finally started on Twitch. Did a couple of trial runs with like the save I was doing on YouTube, but like the in-between bits. So when I had a Let's Play series, so you tend to like skip 6 or 7 episodes. I'd stream those 6 and 7 episodes so I could get used to streaming before I picked a proper save, which I think was a good idea at the time for me, just so I could get used to Twitch rather than focus on the save I was doing. I was already like 5 seasons into that. I knew what I was doing. I knew who was good, who was bad. So it was more about, right, I need to learn what actually Twitch is. And I'll get a raid and I'll be like, what is happening? Don't know what's happening. Don't know what's going on. Because I used to watch Twitch, but never Football Manager stuff. I used to just watch like Fortnite. And just like, it only used to be like bedtime television for me. I'd stick that on while I'm trying to go to sleep.
A bit of Ninja before we hit the hay.
Exactly that, yeah. Ninja, Cypher, all those people. That's who I used to watch all the time. So Twitch wasn't a very big a viewing platform for me until almost like a year ago, really.
Okay. Well, the thing I'm sort of curious about right now is the sort of content that you do on YouTube, because you do sort of that Let's Play content, right? With
kind of, yeah.
Yeah. What the thing that I with that content, if we look at it, the sort of work the space formula, the way that Work the Space has his videos out, the way Dr. Benji, Second Yellow Card, Lujo, all have their videos out. For me, looking outside, I see a lot of people trying to do those videos as well.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's the guys who are doing it. It's kind of a space that's already been filled, and I see the sort of content that Fox in the Box was doing, that Zealand's doing, is that sort of, I guess, meta, you could call it, in terms of your Football Manager videos. What did you do different? Because it's such a tough form of FM content to have a sustainable audience from now. Just because if you are going to start, you've already got Jack, Ben, Matt, Kev, and a host of others already doing it. What sort of things did you do to sort of draw an audience and stand out?
Yeah, so I always go by one rule, really, when I think of like different concepts of content. You either got to be the first person to do it, or you've got to be the best.
Yeah.
And if you're not better than Jack, Ben, Kev, even Clates, he does very good Let's Play series for a small channel. Second Yellow Card, of course. If you're not better than them, then you might get a small audience, but you're not going to be the first person, because you can't. That's already happened. Yeah. So I tried Let's Play series for the last time was FM20. I decided I'm not going to do Let's Play series for FM21 because series stuff for me has never really worked out. I had a brief series on FM21, but it was the Perfect Director of Football Challenge, which I knew was popular beforehand. I did it on FM Scout, and I brought it across to my own channel this season, and I had an abrupt end because basically I was just making the Director of Football make the signings, and then 2 seasons he didn't make any signings, and that whole series just came to an end. So it was like, there was a fault in the experiment itself. So I don't think after that I've even done a part 2 on Football Manager 2021. So it's been all single series episodes for me, and that's where I found my growth, to be honest. At the start of at the end cycle of FM20, I did like player spotlights, and I thought that was going to be amazing for me, and I had loads of plans for FM21. And I started doing it on FM Scout, and then I left FM Scout. They carried on doing it, which annoyed me because it was my format that I'd created. And then FM21 started, another channel started doing it as well, and I was like, right, this is frustrating me, because obviously it was not that I claimed it as my idea or anything, but I was the only guy who did it in FM20 for a while with the certain format that I did it. And then I could just see that format just being copied everywhere, and people were getting mass views and stuff, and I was just getting frustrated by it, which is a bad way to look at it, to be honest, because that happens. If you have a good idea, people are going to try and do it yourself. So I started FM21 doing those player spotlights. Got great growth from it, but unfortunately it's not actually very good content, because all people do is they click on the video, they skip to the bit where you say the player's name, and then they go off and click off your video, so your attention is in the mud. And it wasn't until like February time where I looked at my analytics more and realized, oh god, like there's a reason why I'm getting a very high click-through rate, but my average view time is really low, and that's the reason. So I've stripped right away from player spotlight content now, and I've done a lot of like top 10s and stuff like that, and that's probably the direction I'll go in for FM22, because people seem to enjoy it and people like that type of thing, that it's just different. I try and be different and try and be unique and try and come up with the next unique idea and unique concept. So there's a few things that I've even done recently where, like, say Ronaldo back at Manchester United, as soon as he was on an updated database, I had that team, I picked 5 random tactics, and I tried to win a treble in one season, but obviously with 5 different tactics, simulate that one season each time, and just see if either of them can win a treble. And it's just something that nobody has ever done, or I've seen ever do that. And it's something a little bit of fun that I tried doing and dabble with, and if people enjoy it, then I'll bring it back, and that kind of thing. And it seemed to go down all right. And then obviously round about July time is when I did the first Football Manager rebuild, where I simulated like 5 seasons. I got my dad involved and stuff like that. And that's when my channel blew back up again. And I think that first one that we did, the Spurs one, is my highest viewed video now. And it's only been out 3 months. So it's been massive for the channel, and every Monday now is a rebuild video because the fans demanded I do more.
Last I checked, it was near the 80k mark, which is quite a good number to be hitting.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I guess there's a lot of ways you could take that as well. Obviously, it's not been done before. There's not a handbook for any of it, but you kind of know what the outcome is going to be when you do a, I don't know, non-League to Legend sort of series. Whereas you're kind of writing your own right now.
Yeah.
Any ideas that you have coming in and out? I mean, it's got to be quite exciting to think the potential and possibilities you could take that.
Yeah, I think one of my biggest strengths that I've always had throughout like my wrestling podcasts, wrestling YouTube videos, and now my Football Manager channel is I've always been a really good ideas man.
Yeah.
You know, I'd always have some that miss. Absolutely. In some experiments I've done, I think this is going to bang me 100k views easy. And then it absolutely flops. I'll always get that. But I've had a few really good ideas, which have blown up, and people have, like, I did a rebuild video, first person to do it on Football Manager. Didn't come up with the idea as like a concept. I've come up with the idea as a concept for Football Manager, but it's because I watched like the NBA 2K guys.
Yeah.
And they do it all the time, like 10-year rebuilds and stuff, where they pretty much do the same thing. They simulate, they don't actually play the game. But it's a lot quicker if you do it on the NBA 2K games compared to Football Manager. Like, Football Manager is so much more detailed. So these videos, like, there's like 10 hours of prep that go in before we even record it. And then as soon as I recorded that video, within that month, like 5 or 6 people are popping up doing rebuilds with my exact concept. And a couple of people mentioned, like, oh, this is Mega Luke's done this, which, you know, I appreciate as much as, like, I wish I was the only guy doing it. I understand. People see my video popping off. They understand the concept of it.
Yeah.
So they're gonna copy it. Appreciate the shout out. And some people just ripped it off and never even said, like, where the idea was, which, you know, I can't really grumble too much. People are going to do that if it's a good idea. But yeah, like I said, I was the first person to do it, and I believe I'm the best person who does it.
Yeah.
And that's not me being big-headed, but I genuinely think my videos for rebuilds are the best for two reasons. One, I've got a really good editor, but two, no other person who's doing a rebuild video has my dad, and he is the X factor in this. And honestly, 95% of the comments that come through on the rebuild, they don't mention me. They mention my dad. In fact, I'm going to get my phone up right now because I had a comment genuinely about half an hour ago, and this is exactly what it said. And when I read it, I went, great. So this is the comment. Isaac Roundy's called. So if you're watching, Isaac, appreciate this, but still, you're an asshole. He wrote on the video, "Tell your dad he's my favourite part of your channel."
Oh my!
Brilliant.
You need to pray that your dad doesn't start an Omega Dad channel, otherwise you're fucked.
I know. He's joked about it a lot. But the good thing is he's fully embraced it. Like, the first video, when I asked him to do it, was the Spurs rebuild, because he's a Spurs fan. Harry Kane was looking to leave, and I thought, I'm going to do that concept that I watch every day on the NBA videos. I'm going to do it for Spurs, selling Harry Kane.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I wonder if my dad would want to do it with me, because when he gets drunk, he loves to be on the microphone at a party or something. Like, he's very much like me. He likes to be kind of the center of attention in groups and stuff. And I was like, I wonder if he'd want to. And at first he was like, oh, I don't know about that. There's a lot of people to watch me doing that. So we got involved. He was very shy at first, but as soon as he's seen those comments coming in, how much like people enjoyed him, because he chucks himself in it. I'll give him that. He gets invested in whatever it is, and because the first one was Spurs, you know, he's cheering when they scored or they won anything. People appreciated that because he gets invested, he gets excited, which got them excited to watch it.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they see him do that, they're like, "Oh yeah, your dad's fantastic. We want to see him again." He loved that, and he was like, "Right, I'll do another one then." And we did another one, and then every week then it's like, when we doing the next one? So now, fortunately, because of how old he is, and he's retired, well, not semi-retiring, he's going part-time at his work, we sort of nailed down a schedule now. So like every Thursday he'll come round, we'll record a rebuild, and it comes out the next Monday. So
you better start praying that he doesn't ask for a cut, otherwise.
Honestly, probably about every reel, about 3 or 4 comments saying, "How much do you pay your dad for these?" And I can tell you, he hasn't asked for any money yet, but it might be something I have to give him some royalties or something.
You need to just ban all comments regarding money.
Yeah,
just so he doesn't see them and get any ideas from it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But then I guess obviously the big sort of thing that Wasted Possession's known for is obviously the drafting you're on.
Yep.
I'm not even gonna lie. When you applied, because we have in the past messaged people, I'll be open and admit it. Or do you fancy coming on, sort of thing, just to try and secure big names? Because when we started Wasted Possession, I know I said last week's episode that Stick Piano was the highest followed dude with 250, but I remember I overtook him at one point in followers. I think he was at 150, sort of. That was when Wasted Possession started. We didn't have any pull, so we were asking people basically to join, and you came in. None of us sort of asked, and we got so fucking hyped that Shimmer Showdown guy is just applied. What I mean, we were quite good. How much are you looking forward to, coming on?
Do you know what? I'm looking forward to it, absolutely, because I've watched the last two weekends. I've watched it. Obviously, I was speaking to you quite a lot in Stinger's chat, and I caught up with the other one because the other Friday night I was busy, but I watched bits back, and I sort of followed as it went when Coinberg was just absolutely destroying people, strikerless. So and I've spoke to Coinberg since, actually, and lovely chap.
Yeah,
so
all right.
I'm very much in the same seat as what Ben is with this. Like, the more, not more, but the fact that there are other options of drafts, online draft modes, because of what Shimmer Showdown has done, and other people thinking, I'd like to try that and stuff like that, then the better. I've only ever been part of one other, which was the playoffs, which I got asked to do. I've been asked to do the Super League, but the 1 week I got asked, I was on course, so I couldn't actually do. And good job, because I think I got plastered with call-outs that week, so I wouldn't have ever been able to do it. But, it's something that I thoroughly enjoy, despite being terrible at, is online PvP. I used to do the Battle of the Twins with Mike, which was just like a hyped up draft between the two people. And Shimmer Showdown, like, it's so exciting whether I'm on the panel or whether I'm actually involved. I like being a part of it. So, when I've seen every time that there's like a new one that pops up, I don't follow it like immediately, because I know a few of these like smaller ones pop up and you see them just fade away straight away. But when I'm seeing like names that I recognize pop up and people, saying where the first one was successful or whatever, and then I'll click on it, drop it a follow and watch it, because I like to see who's winning, who's what's going on and stuff like that. I want to see like what's happening in these other competitions. And then when I seen that you popped up with who would like to apply, and I just thought, yeah, let's do it. Let's apply for this one. I want to get involved. So it's bet.
How did you get involved in that first Shimmer Showdown that you obviously appeared on? Did you have any like pre-existing relationships with the guys there, or was it a case of Ben dropped you a message?
A bit of everything, really. I'd only been streaming on Twitch for the last about 3 or 4 months. I think I started on Twitch like 3 weeks before the first showdown started. Because I remember I went live once when the showdown was happening, and I had like nobody. I was like, why is nobody here? And then I clicked on. I was like, oh, that's why. There's like 7 people who are massive compared to me streaming. So, and obviously I started taking notice of the competition, I think from season 2. I believe I watched season 2 onwards, so they knew I watched already, because I'd be in the chat and I'd like tweet about it and stuff, not so that they would ever ask me, because I enjoyed it. I liked the spectacle that they provided as much as like I would have wanted to be involved. I briefly spoke to Ben a couple of times beforehand, and Jack, I think I had a few messages with, and a couple of the other guys who were involved, Tom FM, good friends with Tom FM and stuff like that. So I was aware of a few people, and I listened to like the We Stream Boys podcast, and I think I occasionally had a little dabble in conversations with them. And then I think I was live streaming on a Monday night. And all of a sudden, I had 3 follows from Dupe, Dave, and Curty within the space of like a minute, and nobody said anything. None of them spoke. And I was like, that's a bit suspicious, isn't it? So I was like, all right. Yeah. So I was like, what's going on here? Am I being tested? So I started quoting off the podcast that they did, they released that day, because I'd watched it.
Yeah.
Just to show that I actually do listen to your podcast, because I thought maybe they're asking me to go on the pod. That would be exciting. And then I think I come off that, and I mentioned it to I can't remember who I mentioned it to now. No idea. But they said, maybe they'll ask you to be on the showdown. I was like, well, that would be great. I'd love to be involved. And then I had a message from Ben saying we got a spot that's opened up on the draft night. Would you like to be involved? Absolutely. And I was honoured, because I hadn't been streaming that long on Twitch at that point. I still had a good following on there because of my YouTube channel, come across. But I felt quite an honour to be asked and trusted to go on there, because I knew, like Ben has always said, like the start of it, we only asked people we trusted, because we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know how it was going to be. So when they started asking newer people, that was when I got asked. And then following on from that, I think I had a conversation with Ben. Like, he was happy with how I performed, I guess, in the draft, and. Yeah. And I was brought in to do a full weekend with Mike, Sweet Left Foot. So yeah, it was good.
And then obviously from that you've been on the playoffs. I think you said earlier you haven't been on the Super League. What was the experience of being on others like compared to the Showdown? Because the Showdown, obviously we talked about last week, Nerdphonic on doing a 4-hour trip just to take pictures of McKinn's sort of thing. What is it that sort of makes the Showdown what it is, when compared to being involved and having that insight on sort of the other competitions? Or I guess what have you seen from the Showdown that you think others may be able to benefit from?
Yeah, I think the reason why the Showdown is probably the best, because there is no other competition that will be as well organized or have as many people put in as much time, many ultra talented people. I mean, you talk about, there's not another Nerdphonic. No. I don't care who you are not another Nerdphonic. Some people do some fantastic jobs. What you guys do with the waste of possession, you do fantastic. I couldn't do that. I don't even have a Stream Deck. I'm telling you now, I do not own a Stream Deck. I change all my scenes with a mouse. So I would never be able to do anything like that. He has 3 Stream Decks. One of them's massive as well. There's nobody else who could do that. There's nobody else who could do graphics like Nerdphonic. I don't know why he's just so talented at all of this stuff. And then, of course, you've got people in it like Zealand, and he's one of a kind. You've got people in it like Kev, who has the ability to just play an ultra heel streaming, and you either love him or you absolutely despise him. And it's beautiful. Yeah. And it's amazing. And that is perfect. My chat can't stand him. I love him because I know exactly what he's trying to do. He's putting himself in that position. Yeah. Outside, Kev Chapman himself is a wonderful bloke. Lujo's an arsehole, and it's all of these little things and all these little storylines. Kevin Ben versus each other, Ben and Zealand versus each other. All these little rivalries. Me and Mike had still have a rivalry because people said we looked like each other once on the lowdown panel. All of a sudden, everybody calls us Twin 1, Twin 2, and that's spurred on from that. And I think obviously they were the first. Like I said, you either be the first or you be the best. They were the first, and I still think at the minute they're the best. Yeah. And I think you're going to have a mega amount of money, and you're going to have to employ some extremely talented people who not only play Football Manager but are incredible presenters. And then you're probably going to have to employ some kind of production team who can do Matt's job, Nerdphonic's job, because I can't see anybody who would stream Football Manager who'd be able to do that.
I get the vibe probably have to employ a one-man team.
Unbelievable. I mean, he isn't like a one-man team, but the production side of it. Yeah. I don't think there's anybody in the FM community who could do that. You'd have to employ some kind of producer to do it. So you'd need mega money if you were to make whatever competition it was, have better production value than the Shimmer Showdown. And at the same time, you know, Ben probably mentioned it, like at the end of the weekend, there's 30 of us in a call.
Yeah.
Talking about, right, what went wrong? If we're talking about an incident, what can we do to stop this in the future? What can we do in the future to make this better? Does anybody have any ideas? Who are we looking at to bring in? That's always a big question, because people think, there's been comments in the past. I think it's died down a lot now. They only get the big guys in. They always get the same people in. There are so many people who's been involved in these Shimmer Showdowns, and every single time we have one of those calls, Ben's asking, who are we looking to bring in? And people are popping off names all the time. Some of them have been involved, some of them haven't yet, and no doubt will be involved in the future, because we all want this to grow. We all want more people involved. It's just a case of, you know, we've got the ability to pick people and sort of like introduce them, like McKinn's. He did fantastic on was it the Super League or the playoffs he was in? I can't quite remember which one it was.
He bottles them all.
He bottled them all, but you know what he did do was make a good of account of himself that Ben was watching and thought he's a good streamer in these competitions. Invite him in, he comes on, bloody wins the thing, doesn't he? So
my guy.
Yeah, there we go. That's why I think the showdown is special. Absolutely, it's going to take something massive and a lot of money to knock them off the perch.
I think the benefit that these smaller competitions have right now, like us, the playoffs and the Super League, it's probably a lot more freedom in terms of we can take the risk. When you've got KFC as a sponsor, for example, there's only so much risk you'll be allowed to take before you have to think about 100%. That financial side. We have that sort of freedom. That is the only way we'd ever come close. But it's not going to be for a while if we ever hit that level.
Yeah, and you know, you mentioned like a two-part question towards that. I don't think I really answered it, but like. The reason why I enjoy other competitions, like when I got involved with the playoffs, and why I'm looking forward to the Wasted Possession one, is genuinely because it's new people.
Yeah.
I'm fed up of losing to Kev. I want to lose to somebody else. I'm fed up of, in my chat, just going, get this guy off. Turn this guy off. Like, you know, I want to be involved in these other competitions because they're different layouts. You know, the playoff was a group stage going into a semi-final, whereas the Shimmer Showdown is a group stage which seeds you into something different. And the Wasted Possession is completely different again. It's a different layout. It's different stipulations each time with different people. And at the end of the day, these competitions for me are a lot of fun. Even though I'm losing, I had a great weekend last weekend. I might have been absolutely destroyed, but I still enjoyed myself.
Yeah. As
much as I went and cried into my pillow both nights, I still enjoyed myself. So, you know, and I enjoyed myself when I've been involved in the playoffs, and I know I'm going to enjoy myself on Friday night.
Fair. I mean, you were unlucky last weekend. I couldn't believe.
So unlucky.
I couldn't believe some of the luck you were running into.
The game hates me. The fact that, like, what's even more annoying is if the Shimmer Showdown had VAR, I genuinely think I would have gone through.
Yeah, that wasn't a penalty.
Neither of them were.
No.
And, it was outside the box. And I know for a fact because I streamed the other day and I had one exactly identical to where it was, because after my stream, I went and watched it and I loaded up the Shimmer Showdown and I looked at where the tackle was. And I thought, that's exactly the same. And it was giving us no penalty. And I thought, I've been screwed over by not having VAR in the competition, but that's the way it is.
It does help the narrative, like drive a narrative. Like it's quite entertaining to have that sort of thing. But I mean, the competition that you obviously have entered in is the playoffs. How many playoffs have you been in now?
Just the one.
Just the one.
Yeah.
Okay then. Okay. I mean, I think that was an event that happened on that one.
Yeah, it's probably why I haven't been invited back. Not that it was my fault, but still.
But yeah, I'm not going to go into it. Obviously, I saw on the VOD sort of what happened, and you know, I've had accounts from people, but tell us the story. What happened on that playoffs day? So,
to paint a picture, really, I think what I would say first is these competitions aren't run to be competitions. The only one that really should be a serious competition is a showdown, because it's got huge prize money at the end of it.
Yeah.
But even then, if what happened in the playoffs happened in the showdown, you'd have Ben biting your ear off. Because these really are entertainment. We don't do, if this was for the actual competition aspect and not entertainment comes first because you've got audiences watching. This isn't done to be the best. If that's the case, do it offline.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we stream this. It's for entertainment purposes. We've all got a viewership. There's a reason why everybody who's in the competition is streaming, because they've got an audience who want to watch and be entertained and to follow them.
Yeah.
And obviously the competition aspect is second in this regard. And unfortunately, we had a few troubles at the start. So the draft took over an hour. So I was already streaming before we even got to a match for over an hour. We then play one match. I finish my match, and then I'm waiting 15 minutes for another match to finish. Then we're waiting non-stop for menu presses. Then we get into the second match. My match finishes first again, because I don't really like to take the piss, to be honest. I just click through, like, whatever. And then 25 minutes it was, because I timed it, between my match finishing before this incident kicked off.
Yeah.
And I went back and looked at the VOD, and it was about 25 minutes. But unfortunately, like, a match had a couple of connections issues at the start. And then it just... we were all messaging... I'll just say his name because it doesn't really matter to me.
I don't mind.
Phil FM, we were all messaging him on Discord saying, Phil, can you hurry up, mate? Because his match was just taking so long. Like I said, me and my opponent had finished 25 minutes ago. My chat is sat there for 25 minutes watching nothing, because on my screen you couldn't see anything. Yeah. All watching his live scores. That's boring. I wouldn't have stuck around. I don't know why anybody else would. The only reason why is because they're dedicated to support me. But you know, unless they had a second screen, or, you know, they're speaking to their missus, if they're sat there watching that, I felt sorry for them, because it was 25 minutes of nothing. As it stood, they ended up having a lot of entertainment, to be honest.
It was great.
But yeah, so we were all in the Discord call, and a lot of people were saying, like, oh, he needs to hurry up, and we were tagging him in the Discord saying, can you hurry this up? We're all waiting. And I got so annoyed. I was just like, I'm just going to go in his chat and just say, can you hurry up, please? And when I did, he just kicked off massively, lost his head a bit. And I think he made a bit of a tit himself. The stuff he said, you know, saying I was too big for the community and everything. I was sat there, to paint a picture, I was sat there in my wrestling gear, because one of my channel points things, 50,000 channel points, and I'll wear my wrestling gear on a stream. So I was sat there in sunglasses, a wrestling leotard, and I think I'm too big for the community. Like, I made myself look like a right helmet, and I was sat there doing that. So all I was doing was trying to save everybody else's streams, because everyone had a lot of people watching who were watching nothing happen while he was checking attributes on a player. So that's all I asked him to do. I asked him politely in his stream, because he wasn't watching the private Discord messages. And unfortunately, he kicked off and said some things which I did not enjoy. And I don't think anybody else in the competition really liked either. But unfortunately, I was the only one who was willing to say anything. I don't know, maybe other people just don't want to get involved in stuff like that. I'm not saying I was acting controversial. I just asked him because, you know, I just thought this something needs to happen. We need to speed this up a little bit, because we were live for 2 hours and we had played 2 games. Yeah. So
it's one of them, like, if there's technical issues, then there's not a lot people could do. And like, I was, when I was watching the VOD, I saw him looking at sort of people, players' attributes, and I was like, he is taking a while. I get making tactical changes, like, if Sai Maggio and Stick Piano play each other, you know they're going to be the last game to finish. Because they. But that's
the thing, you know. Most Zealand games or something is because, or Clates, because they do a lot of tactical tweaks, which is absolutely fine if that's what they're doing. But at the same time, they know not to take it overboard. That match got paused for about 5 minutes, I think, because of connection issues, and we were all waiting. If personally, I always think, like, oh my God, like, I'm keeping everybody waiting.
Yeah.
I'd feel so bad. So, I'd be like, well, I'll try and, you know, I want to make these changes, but I'll try and be as quick as I possibly can, because I still want to win the match. Yeah. You know, he has got an argument. He made changes which brought him back into the game after being 2-0 down. Completely understand that. But at the same time, I'll go back to my first point on this. It's entertainment before it's competitiveness.
Yeah.
If you win the playoffs, you don't win money. you get like massive pride. Everybody's like, oh, congratulations, you won the playoffs. And, I'd love to win one. Don't get me wrong. If I'm ever invited back on, I'd absolutely, I'll be buzzing to. But at the same time, I'm not going to be an arsehole and take the piss and take ages and just annoy everybody. Because it wasn't me he was annoying. He was annoying 8 other people. He was sat in the call with me going, oh my God, I can't believe we're taking this long. But it was just me who went across into his chat and just like said, hi, we're all tagging you on Discord. Can you hurry up, please?
I remember listening to your VOD, and I remember I heard, I don't know who the people were, and even if I did, I wouldn't name them. I heard people saying, if he's in next time, I'm not going to take part because this is getting ridiculous. I heard a lot of that. What was the aftermath of that in that group chat? Was it a case of forgive and forget? How did people respond? Like, was there any form of like, oh, sorry lads, my bad, heat of the moment, blah blah blah? Because the thing for me is, watching it, I think you both had points.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say who was right or who was wrong on that because it's not for me to judge. But when you then make that comment of, this guy thinks he's bigger than FM Twitch, that's a bit too, that's overstepping that line to a degree.
Yeah.
Not even to a degree. I think that was the point where you kind of just shoot yourself in the foot in terms of your argument. How did that play off? How did everything play out afterwards?
There was a few people who were not happy at all with what he said, and I had a lot of private messages, which was great in a way, but also do that publicly, mate, and you're sticking up for me. Like, you want to stick up for me, do it, but I'm not going to say like I was pissed off by that, but because I appreciated like people dropping in and drop me a message and sort of say like, you were completely in the, you did nothing wrong and stuff like that, which I do appreciate. And some people don't want to get involved and say that publicly, and I absolutely completely agree with that's fine. That I appreciate the fact that they come and said that privately to me anyway, rather than say nothing at all. Because it reiterated to me like, okay, I wasn't in the wrong, because at the time I was thinking, oh no, I've gotten involved in some kind of drama. I personally don't think I've done anything wrong, but people might see it as I have. I don't really know. And then, like people were getting annoyed in the chat. That's why I said it in the first place. Never really got an apology from him. He had a very half-assed one in the group, which wasn't directed to me. And he tried playing the victim and I called him out on it. And then we were just sort of told, just leave it. And then some people stuck up for me from that. But that was basically it. So it is what it is, to be honest. Like, I'm not his number one fan because of it. Because if he had messaged me after, and I think he messaged me while it happened, and I sort of said like, "Do you realize what you just said? Like what?" And he was like, "No, it was all in the heat of the moment. Sorry if I said anything offensive." So in the heat of the moment, he said that because I think people were in his comments on his live stream saying, "You took that way too far, mate."
Yeah.
I think it's Pumpster said something like, "You've handled that really poorly."
Yeah. And
he messaged me straight away and said like, just private message me later. And I was like, have you realised what you just said?
Yeah.
Like, what you just said to me is fucking disgraceful. And he messaged me straight away like, oh, I'm sorry if I said anything offensive. I don't really remember what I said. And I was just like, right, okay. But I never got a private message after to say like, look, I've watched it back or whatever, and I'm sorry. He gave a half-assed one in a group message. I bit back because I thought it was a terrible excuse, and I didn't want people to think I'm accepting that as an apology. I thought absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a bigger man than that to accept that as an apology. Like, be a man and say, all right, I fucked up, sorry. Because I would have. If she was on the other foot, one, I'll be messaging privately, but two, I'll be messaging that group and saying, look, guys, I'm fucking sorry.
Yeah.
Directing this right at Luke as well. I'm sorry. Whether, yes, I was making changes because I wanted to win the game. Absolutely fine. Like, that's an argument. But at the same time, we're trying to message you on Discord and say it because everybody's getting annoyed. But, I'm sorry, I took that too far and what the comments were made. That's what it is, really. But, it is what it is. I don't hate him or anything from it. I don't wish anything from him. Like, I haven't messaged him about it since. Like, I've been petty about it. I've made a joke about it, if anything. Like, it's now my new alert on stream. Like, every time somebody subs, they hear Phil FM's voice. So, Phil, thank you for the content, mate.
Which quote?
It was this isn't the Omega Luke show. That's my new Twitch sub alert. So... It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's funny.
It's funny now, but then I
And
guess,
genuinely, I think almost every couple of days there's a certain streamer who will message me it, and and I laugh every time. I like open it up, I've got a video, and it'd just be like a random video, but overplayed. It would be Phil FM's voice, and I was just like, oh god, gets me every time.
I'll tell you what, next time you two are in the playoffs, that's gonna be quite a grudge match.
It'd be tasty, wouldn't it? I'm looking forward to. I want to get involved again because I want to have a match against him. It'd be funny.
He was invited in one of our, I think, season. The season just gone because he won the playoffs.
Yeah,
we have that partnership, but he turned it down. So we could have seen it. Could have seen it
if
he'd come in. But
Battle of Titans.
Yeah, 100%. So obviously, no sort of bad blood from you. Have you had any dialogue with the playoffs on what their plan is now in terms of are they nervous to get you both back involved? Do you know?
Don't know. I haven't really spoke to Moz. I messaged Moz straight away when it happened. Said what he said to me. I'm pissed off about it. He kind of apologised, but at the same time, he was trying to run the show at the same time. Nothing really got said after, which I don't think anything bad on Moz or Keg for that. They just don't want the drama in their competition. Yeah. Whether they've said anything to Phil, I don't know. Like they've never really messaged me about it. I know there's certain people in the FM community who I speak to who have messaged Phil about it and told them what they think about it. But whether I ever get invited back to the playoffs or not because of that, if I don't, fair enough. I can see why they may think I was the instigator of it, but if they were hearing the things that I was hearing in the Discord call, which you could probably, like you said, on my VOD, you could hear it.
Yeah.
Then I think you take a different light to it. Because I think Phil, as soon as he heard that everybody was saying it in the Discord call, that's when he realised, it's not just Luke saying it, it's everybody.
Yeah.
And he's just the messenger, really.
I did see a comment that somebody made. I can't remember who it was now. And they put Luke was only angry because he didn't want to miss Love Island. Can you confirm or deny that was the reason why you wanted it to wrap up?
We had about 45 minutes left before it was about to start, and it was close to the final of Love Island, wasn't it? So
I've got no idea. I just saw the comment and thought it was funny.
I'm an avid viewer. I must admit. And I get very annoyed if I have to watch it the next day and catch up. That means I've got to watch 2 episodes in a row,
So that's a lie. That's a lie. Yes.
yeah. What is Love Island?
One of my mates. I actually used to go to college with Wes Nelson, who was on a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're in the same year. His
brother used to play for Plymouth Argyle.
Yeah, he played for Oxford as well. Curtis.
Yeah.
Very
good player.
I met Wes because he tried to slide into my mate's girlfriend's DMs. They'd been together since like year 8. We were obviously in college then, but he didn't know. He turned out to be a solid guy. We did.
Yeah, he seems a nice guy.
Yeah, he was quite clever as well. I saw loads of comments of people saying, "Oh, they're all like thick as shit," but I was like,
he's done a hell of a well for himself. He's got a music career and everything now. He's been in the charts.
He was a chemical engineer before, like.
Yeah. He's like, not a bad job to have, is it?
Nah.
Can't be dumb having that job.
It is mad. It is mad to think, like, like no one would have thought that. I think it was just.
No.
Yeah, it's mad. But I guess that was another controversy that I didn't know about, which you brought up. In the discussions for this, which was FM Scout, because when I basically said, "Are you okay going over what this, that, and the other?" and you were like, "Yeah, I'm fine to talk about the Phil stuff. I'm fine to talk about the FM Scout stuff." And I was like, "The FM Scout stuff? What was the? Obviously, you touched on it earlier about them, carrying your model. I'm assuming there's more to the story than that, though."
Yeah, it was a case of just bad management and a bad egg within the team. He doesn't do FM content anymore, but they had a content creator on there who had been working there for a long time, and there was a lot of, like, when I joined, I had 3 messages from other content creators who used to do FM Scout stuff, were like, "Mate, watch out for Jamie, because he's a snake." And I was like, right, okay. And straight away, like, my first video come out, and he drops a live stream, like, 15 minutes after, which killed my views and stuff. So I was like, day one, he's already trying to stand on my toes, or however you see it, when I was excited for my first ever video to come out. on a channel which was 38,000 subs, and I had 68 subs at the time when I uploaded it. So I was massively excited, and then all of a sudden he live streams, which then bumps my video down to the second most popular thing, well, second most recent thing on the channel. So he was a bad egg. At the time, there was a lot of stuff going on with the owner of FM Scout. He was very preoccupied in other stuff, which I can completely understand.
Yeah.
And then we just clashed. You get that in life. You get people who you just clash with all the time. And a lot of other people have clashed with him. So and the other people, RDF, for example, new on the scene streaming wise, YouTube wise, he's been around about a year. Nicest bloke ever. Like, I speak to him quite often now. We've been in chats a long time. When he joined FM Scout as well, Jamie tried playing us off against each other, and we both fell for it. I started having a go at him because I thought he was a bad egg as well, coming in as Jamie's mate, because that's the way it was portrayed to me. I took it too far. When I realised that I was wrong, I was like, "Oh shit, I'm so sorry." Like I said earlier, if I'm in the wrong, I'll fully own up to it, and I did. I was genuinely so sorry, and I still, like, now I love the guy. I think what he does is incredible. RDF, like, not only is his tactics good, but like his videos, I'm like, how do you do that? Like, his editing and everything like that is absolutely superb, and now it's fantastic. He's getting involved in the streaming side of things. It's something that I wish he did earlier, because you can see how he's got a passion for it. He's going live every 5 minutes. Honestly, every time he goes up, he's online all the time now because he loves it.
I'm like, don't burn out, mate.
Yeah, he absolutely loves it. But that's because he's passionate about it, and he's really good at it. And he left FM Scout for the same kind of reasons. He had a lot of problems with it, and that's basically what happened. And it got down to the nitty gritty, and I kind of said, like, to the missus, even though it was an income for me, FM Scout, and it was a lot more income than what I was making on my channel, because I was making peanuts at the time. I just sort of said, like, I'm just going to quit eventually, and I gave him the ultimatum, knowing that it would be me to go. I sort of said, like, it's either him or me. And they were like, you then? I was like, all right, that's fine. I'll just go off and do my own stuff. And I think, if anything, I should have done it a lot sooner. Yeah. Because if I was doing the stuff that I did on FM Scout a lot earlier on my own channel, I could have been the same size as Zealand, because it was before Zealand even came around and did it on his own stuff. But the channel was run so badly that it never really was given the chance. And yet we still managed to grow it. When I joined in the July or August, we had 38,000 subs. Yeah. Look at that channel now. It's only been 2 years, and it's like 112. I think when I left it was like 78, and that was like under a year. And it was obviously the case of the channel blowing up from when the COVID happened, so the game was made free on Steam. But still, like, that is massive growth in a year to like double the amount. That's huge. And I'm still really proud of that. Like, I'm so proud of the work that I put in on FM Scout. I think I hold like the 3 highest viewed videos on there. And I love that, because I'm so proud of the fact that I did that. I remember the one that's the highest as well. A little like story was, I remember when my first child was, when my wife was pregnant with my first child, we were going in she was going to be induced on the Thursday. She went to the doctors because we had like lapse of movement, so she's like, I'm gonna go to the doctors. I'm like, yeah, that's fine, I need to record this video for FM Scout. She's like, yeah, okay. So I recorded the video, and then she rung me saying they're sending me up to the hospital to be induced now. Like, oh. She was like, so I'm coming back, getting my bags, and we gotta go. I'm like, I need to edit this video and put it up. And she was like, seriously? I was like, yeah. So I'm going to be like an hour editing this video. Then I'll need to create the thumbnail while it's uploading. So can we make it like 3 hours? And she was like, are you joking? I was like, no, I really need this. I really need this video to go up. So she was like a bit pissed off by it. But that is the highest viewed video on the channel. So, it was... If it weren't for the fact that she was so forgiving, that video probably never would have happened. Yeah, to be honest.
And I'm assuming that translated into a relatively good amount of exposure for you then.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have. I don't know whether I would have ever have broke through if it weren't for the fact of FM Scout, because I was, like I said before, I've been doing videos for about 2 months before I did a video for FM Scout. And I had like 68 subscribers. Majority of them were people who, either my mates who didn't watch, or people who watched my wrestling stuff and didn't watch.
Yeah.
So it was like I had about 10 people who used to watch religiously. That was it. Back then, I used to think, oh, subs mean everything. In fact, like, tip for you smaller channels, don't do sub for sub stuff.
Yeah.
Because if the subscriber doesn't watch your video, that looks bad on your channel. So where I was like, I've got 68 subscribers, but only 10 of them are watching, then YouTube are like, well, why would we push your videos? And obviously, I was only first starting out.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether I would ever have gone down the route of trying something different. But yeah, when I left FM Scout, I think I had 2,500 subs after a year, which was just really good. Like good size. I think huge amount. So
got platform to build off. Was it
exactly? Yeah.
Was it the FM Scout guy who changed the name of their Twitter for his own?
Yeah, that's him, Jamie.
Was that him?
Yeah, he stole the FM Scout Twitch channel. Yeah.
Do people still watch him?
No, he doesn't do it anymore. He doesn't do it. I think he does a mystery like shirt thing now. So I remember he messaged me asking if I'd like him to sponsor a video, and I was like, mate, I've got more dignity if you think I'm going to accept money off you to promote your product. And he was like, fair enough. And I just thought, like, you've got some bollocks on you to ask that stuff after what we've been through.
We'll keep the relationship good just in case you change your mind. Fair enough, mate.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, you can help me out. I'll give you a payday. I'm like, no.
See, because when you were talking about it, I thought the name, I think Jamie, wasn't it? It was like, that rings a bell. What a mad geese.
Yeah, fair enough. He was character. For instance, he must have been good at what he was doing, because people enjoyed his videos, people enjoyed his streams. Might not have been my taste, or people who I spoke to or watched me, they wasn't their taste. Because, like we established time and time again, some people are completely different streamers, video creators. Like on Ben's episode, he was saying Jack was more serious about face cam. He decided he needed to be like more comedic with a face cam, and that's why he gained like a viewership. Exactly the same kind of thing. I like to think that I'm not as good or in depth with the game, whereas Jamie knew a lot more about the game than I did. Didn't use a face cam majority of the time and stuff like that, whereas I was more like have a joke with my chat and try and be more engaging that way. He had a lot bigger viewership streaming than I did. So although I was doing it a lot less, so it wasn't that he was bad at what he did. He was just, I don't know, he just made some weird decisions and then like acted like nothing happened. Whereas, honestly, some of the stuff that happened, you wouldn't believe some of the stuff that happened. I know I did a full episode with Diz on his scouting center, and I described a little bit more what happened and stuff like that. And when it all kicked off and I got kicked out, like the main reason why I think it got brought into the public eye was I did a video on why I got sacked from FM Scout, because I knew it was coming. So I was like, this video is going to blow up.
I'm going to profit like fuck this.
Because people are going to want to know. And I think I gained 1,000 subs that day. And I think FM Scout dropped 1,000 subs. Like it was a massive impact because, and Dr. Benji was the one who came in as like a community manager guy, had no affiliation with me or FM Scout, and got me and Jamie in a call, sorted things out for FM Scout so that I would delete the video because it would look bad on me eventually, which now looking back on it, I agree. And obviously it was bad on FM Scout as a company and a brand for what they were trying to do, that an ex-employee come out and saying this stuff. And people say Dr. Benji's only for himself or not for community or all this kind of stuff. Wrong. Look how small I was back then, and he's getting himself involved in a business which had nothing to do with him whatsoever. So, I'm always in his debt for stuff like that, because I always think back to that and I think, he gets a lot of stick for stuff like this. But in fact, what he actually wants is the best for the community.
Like him coming on, I think we had 70 subscribers when at the point time of asking, and even afterwards, like even after the interview, we had a couple hours of chat and was then like, if you need anything, mate, you've got my Discord.
Yeah, top guy.
Followed it with a Twitter follow. And I know a lot of people who are in my sort of area of Twitch, you know, on that smaller side, who, you know, the cult comments, the this, that, and the other comments, and I've experienced a good side firsthand. So I think it's always better to go with what you've seen rather than what other people say, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can't knock him. Can't knock him.
I mean, this takes us to a little bit of a caveat here.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's something else that you do sort of part-time-ish by the sounds of it that I have an interest in. Wrestling. How do you get into that?
So when I said earlier that I stopped playing football about 2 years ago, it's because I took up wrestling training. Football was I was getting sick of it because I would turn up on a Sunday. I already quit Saturdays because the team I used to play for a lot that I loved playing for, they folded. So I moved to a different team, a team which was just full of a group of mates from school who I knew of. They were younger than me, and I couldn't get into the team because I worked shift work. So I played for 3 weeks, then missed 3 weeks. So I could never get into the team because they were really fucking good. So as soon as I miss those 3 weeks, I ain't getting back in the team. So I'm sub for 3 weeks, then I'm off for another 3 weeks. I ain't getting back in that team. No. So I quit Saturdays. Sundays I could play majority of the time, or if I was on the shift pattern, when I did come back, they would play me. But it was for a terrible team in the league, and we just used to argue every weekend. And I used to think, we are 11 people on this pitch who all have the same need to win this game, and yet all we do is punish each other and have a go at each other. So I joined. A few of my friends wanted to do the wrestling as well. And I just said I've always wanted to try it. I always wanted to take a bump, like they say. I always want to take a bump in a wrestling ring. I want to see what it feels like. I want to run the ropes. I want to see what it feels like. So Reach Wrestling, who is my local company, who I used to work with when I had the wrestling podcast, which I kind of still did at the time, and wrestling YouTube channel, and I was friendly with the two owners. They sort of said that, they've got an open day coming down for new people. So me and 3 mates went down. Did the open day, absolutely loved it. Went back the week after, enjoyed it again, and I thought, I ain't ever going to be playing Sunday football again because this was on the same day, and I much enjoy it. And it's been 2 years now, and I'm genuinely serious. I don't think I've missed kicking footballs. And I thought, as somebody who has loved football all his life and still do, played football from 5 years old all the way up until I was like 27 or 8 whenever I stopped. Never had a season off playing football. I generally thought that would never be the case. I thought I'd play until I physically couldn't. Which, the way my back was at the time of playing football, I thought it isn't going to be very long. So the fact that I'm 2 years deep now into wrestling training and I don't miss football, but I still I got training tomorrow. I cannot wait. And I know I'll be going tomorrow and I'll be going Wednesday, and we have an event next Saturday, and I can't wait. So
how long did it take you to get sort of ring ready, and so into you can perform? Maybe nothing recorded, but doing a dark match or anything like that.
Yeah, so I started in October. Very start of October, because I remember my first training session as well. I had kidney stones.
Oh.
So I was on the very back end of having kidney stones. I had it for about 8 or 9 days, because I remember I missed the first open day. We were going to go originally the week before, and I had kidney stones. I was in hospital that morning, and I remember the trainer messaging me saying, "You've bottled this," and I told you would. You bottled it, and I'm like, took a photo of me in the hospital, like, mate, I've got kidney stones. So, and I remember that first day, I was we did the cardio. And I consider myself quite fit at the time. I was playing Saturday, Sunday when I could. I was in good shape. I could play 90 minutes easy. And I did the cardio for wrestling, and I was in the toilet throwing up and peeing blood. Because that's how bad the kidney stones was, but that's how hard the cardio was. And I've thrown up in the ring. I've thrown up in the toilet at training a few times. And I still, when I do the cardio, I go out and I think, I'm going to pass out, because that's how hard it is. That's how hard they push you, because that's the main thing at Reach Wrestling, is that your condition, your cardio, and your body weight control, because that's what makes you safe in a wrestling ring. If you're tired and you're trying to pick people up, it's not going to go very well. If you can't control your body, if you've been thrown up in the air and you can't land properly, it's not going to go very well. So those are the things, the fundamentals that they teach you first. So I started at the start of October, And then February time was, so January they had their own unit. So it used to just be every Sunday. And then in January they got a unit where they trained 5 times a week. So I went as much as I possibly could, which was 3 times a week, because I wasn't allowed to go to the advanced class. And then within like 3 or 4 weeks, me and now the Academy champion Jordan was bumped up to the advanced class. So I went 4 times a week. I went as many times as I could. Yeah. And then when it got to February time and COVID, just before that, they were like, we've got a massive show in the Plymouth Guildhall, which was like the biggest venue probably in Plymouth other than where WWE go to, pavilions, which is like thousands of people. This would be like 600 tickets they were going to sell, and they were like, you're going to be in the Battle Royal. That's going to be your debut. And I thought, that ain't bad, is it? 600 tickets and in a Battle Royal as my debut. Looking forward to it. I had about 50 tickets sold myself. I had a few YouTube subscribers coming down to watch from Hull and Manchester, I think it was. Jeez. So they were loving me that I was being able to sell tickets. And then COVID happened. So I think ring readiness, it took me about 5 months before I was being involved in battle royals and training, and I was having like practice matches at training where I wasn't fucking up or anything like that. So they were happy for me to be involved in a match. But then when COVID hit, and I had a baby 2 days after COVID, the first lockdown, I put on about 2 stone because we were just in and we couldn't train. We couldn't train until the August. So I went from March to August without training, put on 2 stone because we were just stuck in the house. I lived in a flat as well. So like I didn't really have a garden to go out and train in, a very pokey flat with loads of baby stuff everywhere. There's no way I can do any cardio. And you just ate takeaways. You know, what else do you do? Like you just sit around eating takeaways. I put on 2 stone. When I went back to train, and they were like, "Whoa, you've got big." I shaved my head as well because I couldn't go to the hairdressers, and I had a receding hairline anyway. So now I've just got a shaven head forever. So I went back to training with a shaven head and 2 stone heavier, and they were like, "Right, okay." So it took me another 3 months from going back before I had my first match, which was on a Unit 10 YouTube taping, which we only started doing because of lockdown, because we couldn't do live shows. Because we were training, I sort of like they spoke about it and they sort of said like, we've got nothing to train for. Maybe we should think about doing the YouTube stuff. And I was like, well, I can edit it. I can help record it. We've got GoPros and stuff. I'm more than happy to do that. And we're still doing the Unit 10 shows now. So a lot of people have had debuts because we've been able to do the recorded shows and put them on YouTube, including myself.
Okay, cool. So how many matches have you had so far then?
So I've had 3 single matches. I've had 1 tag match and 1 Royal Rumble. So I've had 5 matches that are recorded. I was gutted really. When a couple of weeks ago, I was supposed to have another match up, which would be my first live show match. Which would have been a battle royal, but I was still, on the card to book for it. But I then got the flu and laryngitis, so I couldn't talk. And my whole gimmick is that I can talk a lot because every match I've had so far, I've started off with a microphone in my hand. So I was like, I'm going to go up into a new area near Birmingham and Evesham, new company. I want to ask the promoter, just let me have 2 minutes on the microphone before this match because it's my best trait. I'm better on the mic than I am in the ring. Let me have it. And I thought, that's what I'm going to do. And I spoke to my trainer, and he was like, I'm sure he'd let you do that. So I'm like, right, good. And then I had laryngitis and lost my voice. And I was like, no, I can't do it. So, I've only had 5 recorded matches.
I take it you're more of a heel character then.
Yeah, for now. I'd love to be babyface, don't get me wrong. And like lately in training and stuff, when we've had training matches or have done like training drills, I've always asked to play babyface because I want to get the practice in to do it, so that if it ever comes to the point where Reach are looking for a new babyface, I can go like, I would love to be one. And I can sell like a babyface, and I can fire up like one, because it's, watching wrestling all my life, like it's not until I started training and understanding the psychology of it that I really understood what makes a good babyface, what makes a good heel. My job as a heel is to make the babyface look good. I never knew that, like, until I actually started training. And they were like, because I had a match against a guy called Toby, nicest bloke on the planet, but it was like, right, you're going to have Toby's debut match. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And they're like, yeah, you're putting him over because we think he's going to be class. I'm like, oh, so I'm going to lose. I'm like, right, okay. And they're like, but remember, the whole point of you being a heel is to make the babyface look really good. So he's like bumping around a lot, but when he gets to his moves, make him look like a superstar.
Yeah.
And you get pride in that. You think, oh, that's awesome. And now, like, he's on camp shows. He's had loads of matches. I'm like, what? He got booked in his hometown in like a really small area in Devon, where genuinely, by the way, they thought wrestling was real.
Really?
So I've had 3 matches against him. I've lost all 3. And I had an interview with his dad beforehand for the Reach Wrestling Facebook page. And when I said to him before, I was like, what does your dad look like so I can grab him when he comes in the hall? And he was like, oh, this is what he looks like. I was like, all right, I'll take him to one side, tell him what I'm going to ask him. And he was like, no. So don't clue him up on it. What do you mean? He goes, well, he thinks this is real.
What?
Like, seriously? And he was like, yeah. He's like, everybody in this place thinks it's real. So this place is like Emmerdale, and they don't really have like internet and stuff. So
no way.
Yeah, they the last time that they think of wrestling is like back in the 80s, where it was like giant haystacks and stuff, and World of Sport era. Yeah. So back then, everybody thought it was real because a lot of it was on the fly, made to look real.
Yeah.
So they don't know what like WWE looks like or AEW. They don't know what that is. So they think it's a fight. So when I interviewed his dad, he was like, "I know who you are." I'm like, yeah. And I was like, I've fought your son a few times, and he did not look happy.
Really?
Yeah. And there was, we had an incident right after, like one of the heels, he lost the match and he rolled out the ring, and this massive bloke was stood in front of him with like big mutton chops, proper what you'd say like a country bloke would look like flannel shirt and everything, with a beer in his hand. And, well, an empty beer in his hand. He's going up to the bar to have another one. And this guy called PJ's rolled out the ring and gone, get out of my way, like a heel would do. Yeah. And he is headbutted him.
Whoa.
This fan has headbutted him because they all thought this was real. But yeah, so he wrestled that night as in his hometown with like 130 people, however many people were screaming his name. So he's going on to big things. He's had like people come down from WWE and watch him and everything. Yeah, he's really good. So, but yeah, that's my job as the heel, to make him look good.
I guess that's why you'd want to be the babyface, I guess, because I don't know if you're like a WWE scout, you'd like it must be different to like a football scout. So
100%.
A football scout, it's like, okay, I'm going to have a look to see who's pulling the strings and making the team win, sort of thing, looking for the individual that's a good footballer. But I guess when it's WWE, as this guy's been scouted for being a great babyface, what sort of does it get picked up on how good the heel makes that babyface look more than you'd assume? Because in people's head they might think, well, you lost, so they're not going to be scouting for you. But once they see obviously what you bring and how good, they'll be able to identify what you've done to make this babyface look good.
Sure. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, the whole point of the babyface is to gain sympathy.
Yeah.
So as a heel, I need to make people feel sorry for him. So I need to be an arsehole to him. I need to slap him around a bit. I need to, every time where he has a little hope spot where it looks like he's going to get the better of me, cut him off. Bang. Then the fans are like, oh, he almost got it. And, he's not to mention as well, he has lovely hair. I don't have lovely hair. I have no hair now. He has lovely, lovely hair. He's a very good looking bloke. He is stacked as well. Like I say, he's from the country. He's a farmer boy.
Yeah.
His whole gimmick is he's farm strong. That's literally what he calls himself, because he's a guy who doesn't probably have to lift any weights, and yet he is massive. Now that he's actually started going to the gym, because he's been told that if you start going to the gym when you look like this without going to the gym, you're going to look huge. Yeah. Now he is absolutely stacked. My first match I had with him was in December, and he was a big boy back then. And then when I had my second match with him in June, I was like, how big have you got now? Like, before it was realistic that I was beating you up because, we're roughly about the same size. He's come back and he's like this. He can barely itch his own head.
Yeah.
And he's absolutely ginormous. So, but he can still gain sympathy. He can make it look like he's in pain. He can do all the things that a baby face can do. That's what they're looking for, really. Heel, if I can talk trash, I can react to a crowd, which is stuff that I like doing. As much as I'd love to have, you know, what he had, 150 people cheering him in his hometown. I said to him, I'd love to be your opponent tonight because I want those 150 people booing me.
Yeah.
I want to go out there and be like, yeah, I'm going to kick this guy's ass and you're all idiots and stuff. And I want them to be shouting abuse at me. That's what I want to do. And wind up people because, you know, it is actually surprisingly quite fun.
Yeah, I could imagine, especially because obviously you're aiming to have them hate you. So when they do hate you, it's a job well done.
Oh, it's magic. You know, when you get like, when you've said something and all of a sudden you get a crowd reaction of like boos and stuff, you're like, yes, more. What can I say next to make it even worse? Like, so yeah, I remember my match back with him. He started seeing a girl at training, and she was in the crowd, and she shouted something to me when I had shoulder tackled him, and he was on the ground. And I just went, shut up, bitch. And she got so angry. I was like, oh my God, that was so good. And I remember like grabbing him next and he was like, that was amazing. I was like, yeah, I was like, how can I wind her up more? And I like remember throwing him off and then she said something again. I went, oh, bitch, shut up. And just like shouting. And she's screaming mad because obviously at the time when we're recording this, we can't have a live audience for these like tapings. So we use people at the academy.
Yeah.
And so she's like, dotted in the crowd somewhere. She's a wrestler as well. She's had more matches than I've had, but she's dotted in the crowd somewhere. You can't necessarily see her, but you can hear her. So whenever she's shouting and giving me abuse, and I'm shouting back, and she's giving me a reaction, that's exactly what I need. But yeah, I can't wait till I do like an actual live event where I get that feeling with somebody who's not. And it's more of a natural reaction because I think that is a natural reaction. Like she's in the crowd, I've called her a bitch. She's shouting back, but she's also clued up on it. She knows I'm a heel and I want the boost. Whereas like a normal average fan in the crowd, it's not going to think that. They're just going to boo me because they don't like what I've done or what I've said. So I'm craving it. I'm craving it massively, and I'm working my ass off. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like the last couple of months, I've seen like a couple of my friends make their live debuts, and obviously I couldn't because of my laryngitis or something. And I'm craving it now. And I'm like, right, I'm working my ass off. I'm in training. I'm doing as much as I possibly can. I'm messaging the trainer like, what can I do? I want to get on a live show. Yeah. So I want it to happen soon, but. Can't rush these things. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who are in good spots down here. Southwest Wrestling's really good at the minute where I am.
I guess it's one of them patients keeping it up. I mean, it sounds like there was interest in you before in terms of getting you in that live crowd, and that interest probably won't be going away anytime soon. And I mean, I look forward to seeing where it ends up, mate. One day.
Yeah. I can't wait. I mean,
just be watching NXT UK and all of a sudden.
Oh, absolutely not. No, I've already like because obviously I'm like 29 now. I'm gonna be 30 next year. Like a lot of like times the trainer will say like he's one of these people. He loves to just hear what you say. So there's like Toby, who I face. You know, he's young. He's 23, 24. He could make it in NXT UK, absolutely. A couple of years more training, I could definitely see him. Even if it's just like a squash match, I could definitely see him there. If he even is like a regular, absolutely, I could see it. But then when he goes around, my trainer's going around and is like, what do you want to get from wrestling? What do you want to get from wrestling? And they're all going, I want WWE trials. I want to wrestle for WWE, or I want to wrestle for AEW. I want to have a tour in Japan. I want to have a tour in Germany. And they come to me and I'll just go, to be honest, I'm happy just have a few matches in the Southwest, maybe hold a local title. That would be nice. And they go, so you don't want to go WWE then? I'll be like, not really. my main passion, my main ambition is for my YouTube channel to be my number one income. I haven't got that yet. I'm on my way there. Like I've gone part-time recently. It's my main income as opposed to when my full-time, which I left a few weeks ago, used to be. Now my YouTube channel and my Twitch stuff is my main income. I've just have to top it up with a part-time job, obviously. That's my main passion. That's my main number one goal that I have. This is a hobby for me. As much as I'm determined to be on a live show, to wrestle in front of crowds because it is a lot of fun, and I really want to hold a title belt. They've just announced a new, and it was kind of my idea, but they added on to it, doing like a wrestling Patreon for the company. And I said, you can have like Patreon matches, so people who are pay for the Patreon, they're the only people who can see these matches. That's a great idea, Luke. Yeah, we've got a spare title. We can make it a Patreon exclusive title. And I was like, that's a fantastic idea. Absolutely. Now they're doing a tournament for this Patreon title. And I'm like, I want that title belt, because at the minute, the Academy belt is held by a heel, which means I'm not going to win that title off him. They're not going to do a heel versus heel. That makes no sense. So, and there's a lot more better baby faces who are going to be in line for that. So I'm not going to win that title belt. I know that. But there's a Patreon title that I know if I win, and they know, I'm going to be wearing that title belt in my videos, 100%. And if I'm wearing that title belt to my 20 odd thousand subscribers, a couple of them might go across the Patreon and be like, yeah, I want to see Luke get his ass kicked. Yeah. Exactly. So I've told them that, and they're like, that's a great idea. You'd be a perfect person to hold this title belt. I'm like, yes, I know I would be. And it is a gorgeous belt as well. It's like, the other belts that they have are nice, but I personally think this is the nicest looking belt they have. And I'm like, oh,
give me it.
I want to win that belt. Yeah, I want that belt. So it is one of those things now. That's like one of my goals now. To win a title belt in my local company reach is mainly my main goal. If I retire, like if I stop wrestling and it never happens, I'm not going to be like completely gutted about it, because at the end of the day, it is just a hobby, and as much as I take it seriously, it's not my number one priority. But yeah, I would love for that to happen, and you better believe that'll be plastered everywhere.
I look forward to seeing. Well, you touched on a really good point during sort of that segment there, where going full time with your YouTube content now.
Yeah.
And Twitch content, I should add. I mean, I think you played it quite clever, not just making that jump straight away.
Yeah.
Because I think some people try to make that jump in a far less sort of sustainable position than you are.
Yeah.
And it just obviously doesn't work out, and sometimes those guys don't come back.
Yeah.
Were you taking anything from those sort of guys who are looking to make it a full-time income, or did make it a full-time income before, trying yourself?
Yeah, so it's something that I've always wanted to do since I started doing the YouTube stuff, and I've always mentioned to the missus, and she's sort of said no, not until you're earning double what you earn at your normal job and all that. I'm like, oh, great. And then I started listening to Lelujo talk about it. I've listened to Ben talk about it, and listened to Jack talk about it, because they've all had different experiences. Kev left a teaching job where he had great pay, but he had a backup plan. He could go back into supply work, he give himself a few months and that sort of stuff. That's his story. Ben's, like who we heard last week, was a completely different story. Jack's, again, he had a fantastic job, Work the Space did, and he was he had over nearly 100,000 subscribers before he even made the jump.
Yeah.
That guy is a machine. He's managed to work that much and get that big, working a full-time job, doing videos every single day, because Lord knows that is a lot of time in a day, and you're dedicating your life to that a lot of time. And obviously he's had his burnout stages. Second yellow card, he's another one, completely different scenario. He's very big on Twitch because he's been so consistent. And that's something that I've always struggled with because of full-time job where I've been on call. Yeah. And I can't necessarily commit to doing every Tuesday, Thursday night, or, whatever I was planning on doing at the time, because every fourth week I might get a call out. I mean, we spoke about it beforehand, before we pressed record. The last time that I was on call at my full-time job, which basically made my decision to go part-time, when I spoke to my missus about it, was I had a very good momentum going into a partner push, where I had all the numbers. I had over 100 average viewers in a partner push. I pressed apply for partner. The next week I went on call, and I missed all 3 streams because I had a call out 3 days. Yeah. On the 3 days that I was going to go on call, that I was going to go live, I had a call out every single night, which stopped me from going live because I'd worked all the way through. And then my partner application was just rejected because the I didn't hit the numbers. I had 12. You're supposed to get a certain amount of streams in a month in 28 days. 12, I think it is.
12, 25 or 24 hours, and
yeah. And I didn't have. All I had was the average numbers because I didn't have enough streams in the month, so it was rejected immediately, which was my 3rd rejection now.
Yeah.
And it killed it for me, and I was like, right, I love streaming, but sometimes it was a struggle to stream even if I wasn't on call, because I'd work all day, then I'd spend my time with my family, my young family, and he is buzzing everywhere and, you know, tiring me out.
Yeah.
Put him to bed, and then it's like 8, 9 o'clock before I go live, and I'm tired. I'm yawning on stream and stuff. So
it's not great,
you know,
for an audience standpoint.
Yeah, so going back to the original question, like I looked into all of these things, and I spoke to people, and Tom FM, he was going part time and doing it, and you know, I knew that was the route that I had to go down, because I could see how much I was making, and unfortunately, I'm not in the situation maybe that other people would be in, where I don't have a mortgage or a young family or other responsibilities. Unfortunately, I've got to pay for my mortgage to keep the house over my wife and kid. And that is my number one priority, as much as I'd like my YouTube to be like my number one priority. Like keeping a roof over my family's head is my number one priority. So I could not do this full time, as much as I'd love to take a chance on myself, because I believe I can do it. Else I would never have even gone part time. I wouldn't do it at all if I didn't believe I could do it. And as much as I'm looking forward to FM22 releasing, because, you know, this time last year, I wasn't earning like a tenth as much as what I earned in the last couple of months since I've been doing the rebuilds. Hopefully, I experienced the same amount of growth. I think at the start of FM21, I had 5,600 subs when the game was released, and by Christmas I had doubled that. In like a month and 2 weeks, or month and 3 weeks, whenever it was. So, if you know, I'm not saying I can double what I'm on now, because I think it's like 23,000. It's not going to happen. It's not possible. But if I can have a substantial amount of growth going into next year, when it comes around to FM23, I could be looking at position going, look, I could do this full time now, and that is the dream. That is the ideal scenario for me, because then I can pick and choose. Like I still now, even though I've gone part time because of childcare reasons, because of my part time job that I've had to go to, can't fix myself on a schedule at the minute. I'm trying so hard to find a streaming schedule that works, that I'm not going live when Zealand goes live, because nobody's going to watch me. They're going to watch that really entertaining guy from across the pond. They're not tuning into me. Nobody's going to want to watch me like that. I don't blame them. As soon as he comes on, I would be scooting off my streams and going to his, because the guy's a master at what he does. Yeah, he's a master at what he does. The same as if Ben goes live or whatever. I used to stream when Lil Uja went live, and my numbers would be low, because they've had a longer experience and more interaction with these people, and they're bigger. They're bigger for a reason. You know, I've only been streaming for a year. Zealand, as much as he's only been big for a year, he's been streaming for 2-3 years now. He's very good at what he does, and there's a reason why he gets that amount of views. Same as Ben, same as Jack, same as all these guys who are bigger and better than I am. So, you know, I'm at the point where going part-time is a decision that I'm so pleased I can make, because it is very hard doing full-time YouTube hours with a full-time job of a young baby and another baby on the way, because my wife's pregnant and due to give birth in January. So when that happens, if I had a full-time job, there's just not a chance I'd be able to do streaming. I'd barely be able to do the YouTube stuff. Not to mention I've got a hobby that I want to continue in wrestling. It's juggling as much things as possible. So at the minute, part-time is exactly the step that I wanted to take and needed to take, and hopefully it's the right decision. I think it will be. The part-time job that I've got, I'm lucky, because all I'm doing is delivering like home deliveries for retail, but it's a lot less mental stress and a lot less pressure than my last job. Like I said, I was on call. I had to take my work home with me. I don't have to do that anymore. As soon as my time's up, my clock out, I'm not thinking about the work anymore. I don't have to worry about it anymore. I don't have a phone to keep hold of and stuff. And hopefully it's fixed shifts so that I can just plan and schedule. And then hopefully within like 8 to 10 months, I can be like, see you later, mate. Like, that's the dream.
Let's hope they don't see that part of the video if they do end up watching it.
Yeah. To be fair, like genuinely, when they asked, like, oh, so you're leaving, like, because I did my apprenticeship. I've done an apprenticeship. I've got a lot of qualifications in engineering. And they're like, oh, why do you want to leave to do like home deliveries? And I was like, to be honest, mate, I've got a YouTube channel and I'd like that to be my full-time job. I just need to put more time into it. They're like, oh, okay. And I thought, wow.
It's tough. It is tough. I used to work at Argos, and all our delivery drivers, because they paid the pay rate for them wasn't great, and they ended up having to do more work, because I'm pretty sure, well, they'd all basically leave us for the AlehStair across the road. The guys at the AlehStair didn't have to like load up their own vans and stuff like that. These guys definitely did. So it is hard to keep a hold of guys. So if somebody's down to stay for 8 months, then it's probably 6 months longer than most of the guys who start with you would be there for.
Absolutely, and I knew they'd kind of be like that, because the reason why I applied for where I went to was because one of my best friends, he did kind of the same thing as me. When his wife was fully qualified in the job that she wanted to do, and they could afford to pay like their bills just off her wages, he quit his full-time job to go back into education, to do pretty much the same job as what she's doing. But he had no qualifications, so he had to start off at college first. Did a year at college, then was planning to go to uni, and then COVID happened. He couldn't go to uni, so he then had a year of didn't know what to do. So he took this job and told them, this time next year I'm leaving, by the way, because I'm going back to uni. And he finished in August, and I joined in September. When they said... Yeah, when I said to him, "Oh yeah, I know Dom." They're like, "Oh yeah, he's gone to uni now." I'm like, "Yeah, I might not be around here that long either." I'm hoping I won't be.
Appreciate the honesty.
But yeah.
Well, we are at that 1 hour 45-minute mark, according to my recording. I don't have anything else to ask, mate. Is there anything else you want to go over?
No, I mean that's flown by the way. Enjoyed the chat. Yeah.
I mean, it didn't feel like it. I was like, okay, are we at the hour mark? Oh.
Yeah.
Literally one of them. But yeah, I guess, again, mate, thanks for coming on. It's been a really good episode. I think we kind of hit all bases in terms of, the funny side, serious side, the drama side particularly as well. But yeah, I'm very, thanks a lot for you obviously coming on and being as open as you have been with us. No,
I enjoyed it, mate. Thank you very much for having me on. And looking forward to Friday.
Yeah, we'll be able to see a few hours after this comes out how Luke did. So if you do want to see how Luke does, please do follow us on Twitch and make sure you are watching today, because this will be coming out at 4 on Friday. And again, like I said at the beginning of the vid, like, comment, sub. I mean, let us know how much Sweet Left Foot and Luke look like each other.
Like nothing like each other, do we?
Whatever it is.
Nothing like.
Whatever.
I am so much better looking.
We'll leave that. Maybe we'll do a poll. If you and Sweet Left Foot are ever in the same wasted possession, we will definitely get that poll going on Twitter or in the.
I'll give him that he's better at FM PvP than me, but I am so much better looking than him.
Yeah, that's as far as it goes.
Yeah, that's all he's got on me. That's it.
Nah, I can't argue with that. Well, cheers, Luke, for coming on. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We have a few more of our upcoming Wasted Possession drafters coming in as guests as well. So we look forward to bringing those out, and thank you very much for watching.